Accept your death.
So last week, I was kind of talking about shoes and feet and that kind of a thing, and you know how my old shoes were kind of inhibiting my feet a little bit. So we switched it up, and you know, after doing some searching online and you know, viewing some videos from some influencers, I decided that, you know, our ancestors went around barefoot. So then, you know, like our ancestors, I should probably do the same. Now, where I was running into issues of this is that stores don't like it when you go into their establishments with bare feet, particularly grocery stores. So what I've been doing...
it's not very hygienic, yeah.
What I've been doing is just cutting the soles out of the bottom of my shoes so that people can't see that I'm barefoot, but I know that in my true self, I'm walking around the way that my ancestors intended me to do it.
Yeah, that's not a real story. I don't buy it.
You know what? This isn't... If this sounds crazy to you, it's because it is. But it's a video that I actually saw online. And I don't know if this is people just trying to get like outrageous things. There's this doctor that I follow, right? And he reacts to these crazy videos that he sees online. And that was one couple talking about how they're doing this. And it just seemed like so crazy to me, you know, the people.
I have a friend in Memphis, and she said, like, in high school, like when she was a senior in high school, her and a couple friends, and they kind of went on this no shoes thing, and they would just go everywhere barefoot, like including like downtown Memphis. And I think that's kind of the thing, right? Like our ancestors were probably wearing something as soon as they could, right? If they were crafting things out of leather, I'm sure there was some foot protection. But even like, you know, indigenous tribal stuff right now, it's a lot of barefoot, but they're like a lot of like broken glass and asphalt and all sorts of like other stuff to worry about. Needles.
Yeah. Needles are a big one. Yeah. Like that's stuff the ancestors did. Plus they don't even mention that, you know, you were lucky to make it to 30 back then. They say you didn't get eaten by something or
yeah, I don't think that was because they were going around barefoot though, maybe. Unless they stepped on something. And like, and then now they can't run, right? If they'd been wearing some Converse, they would have been okay.
Yeah, right. Hashtag not sponsored. But you know, back to kind of an update, you know, feet seem to be fine after switching to a different pair of shoes that's not completely blown out. So it's amazing kind of what a small difference, you know, makes in life. Just those small different decisions.
I agree. Like, you don't even realize how bad your old shoes are until you get new ones, right? It's like when you might not be able to relate because I don't think you wear glasses. Anybody that does like corrective lenses and stuff, and you go and you get a new prescription that's like more accurate because your, you know, eyes continue to degrade over time, and you don't even realize how out of whack your current prescription is until you get a brand new one. And then you're like, okay, so that's what the edges of leaves look like. I forgot, you know.
The edges of leaves. It's the little things in life that we miss, right? But I don't wear glasses, so I can't relate to that. But
that contrast, you get a nice new pair of shoes, and it's like, oh, I'm walking around on clouds all of a sudden.
Yeah, this is what I've been missing, you know, not a flimsy piece of plastic, you know.
Right.
I ordered a new non-stick pan this morning because mine definitely bit the dust. So we'll see. I'll probably have a similar feeling when I get that in. Like, wow, this is what it feels like to not have to scrape eggs off the bottom of your pan every day.
Yeah, you're a real wild one. These are the things we get excited about these days.
Yeah.
New kitchenware.
Yeah, it's true. You know, I used to be with it, and now I just get excited about cookware.
I used to get excited about like new albums coming out or shows coming to town or, you know, going out of town, and now excited about my new skillet.
Yeah. Yeah, you used to go to all sorts of concerts and shows, and now I just couldn't imagine just standing in a stadium full of thousands of people I don't know. I don't know about that. Might not be my
sharing all that oxygen. It's so hot in there because of all the bodies, and it's just people's funk that's just settling all over you.
People's funk, yeah. Ain't that the truth? Sweaty people. But you know what's not sweaty? Is our comments. Sometimes they can be a little sweaty, but yeah. Starting with first comment here, Dad's OP. When I was in the army, the boots fucked up my feet so bad that I could hardly walk by week 3 basic training and thought I'd have to go home. They sent me to the doc and he gave me arch support inserts and crazy turnaround that having the right support for your feet is huge. I had full leg issues completely disappear with the right support. And yeah, that just kind of reinforces. Arch support is actually something I should probably look into. Because it might be something that I need, but I've never really looked into it before. I think I tried like some Dr. Scholl's things once, like years ago, but I don't know. I wasn't really at a stage, I think, in my life where that would have made a big difference. But
here's what you do: just mist a little bit of water on the bottom of your foot, and then you get like a piece of paper, and don't like mash into it, right? But kind of set your moist foot down on top of it, leave a little footprint there.
all right.
You can kind of gauge how flat your foot is, right? However much negative space you have where the arch of your foot is, like the better your arch is.
Oh, that's a
And
neat
if it's
trick.
all just big one solid piece, you're probably a flat-footed duck all flopping around.
Man, maybe I've been flat-footed Andy this whole time and I had no idea. I don't know. Is it better to have arches or no arches?
Yeah, you need support and stuff. You can tell by the way the soles of your shoes and stuff wear too, right? Do they wear more on the inside or the outside and stuff like that? It says a lot about like your walking gait and walking posture.
Man, we're hardly 6 minutes into this. I've learned so much already. Hater, are you secretly a foot doctor?
No, everybody's favorite Mortal Kombat podcast talking about shoes, I guess, and feet.
Yeah, good health, good foot health. You know, we're doing God's work out here. So, all right, thanks for the comment. Appreciate you. Barricade 133. More changes like some of these across the cast is needed. It'll add more combo pressure routes and a few more cancelable non-ambush style cameo moves and or special moves, and slight buffs to non-turn stealing, hard to blockable cameo moves to push people to utilize the whole cameo moveset and not just one move used over and over and over again. And I feel this has kind of been like the struggle with NRS is like they'll have a cameo and the cameo has one like super duper good move that stands out. So then they kind of like change things to like try and make the other moves a little bit more useful or something like that. And then it ends up just killing the cameo in general because they're like, well, why would I even use this then, you know?
Like we just saw with the striker grenades.
Yeah.
Now they're back. Now he's back everywhere, right? But when they nerfed it, and that was why you played striker. Everything else was gravy, and there was situational stuff for his other things, but you play him for the grenades for sure.
Yeah, no, with a buff to kind of everything, like I've seen a little bit more striker since the patch. I don't know if he's just kind of hasn't really got in that much yet, but he's I would say he's more used now than he was before, but I don't think he's taken over.
Yeah, people are like experimenting with him again, right? He and Darius, I feel like, are the two big cameo winners, and people trying out their characters with those teams. But it's still that early post-patch honeymoon era, so we'll see how that averages out in the long run.
Yeah, I was messing around with trying to punish his Darius's wake up now because like minus 20, no, minus 15, I think, but they're on wake up. But there's a lot of pushback. It was quite difficult to get a decent punish off of that. So I'll continue. Well, I was only practicing with Li Mei. I'm sure with Quan Chi, I just standing forward into whatever kind of idea, but you know,
yeah, it pays to have like a good reversal, right? It's like so Molina players can just reversal ball roll anything like that, you know.
How fast is the startup on ball roll? I'm wondering about
that. I think it's 12.
Dang, I didn't realize it was that fast. I mean, it makes sense now when I think about it, but
11 or 12. That does sound fast, but I swear it's definitely like around there. So it's really good for situations like that. And then if nothing else, if you're Li Mei or Sub-Zero or something, you can at least get a reversal slide or a reversal knee or whatever. So it pays to play a character that has a fast reversal, a forward advancing reversal.
And I haven't really labbed it as of right now, but Frost's new wake up is a similar idea, a little negative, but decent pushback. So I was messing around with her the other day, but I kept forgetting to use that move. Would be such a good move for Quan if it gives us a little bit of an advantage. So, but we'll see. Thanks for the comment. Appreciate you. Last one here, Rooster. Yeah, I'm not sure why people are whining about it. I get why Havoc mains are sad, but he's still good. Just not broke AF. I think this patch definitely balanced some shit that needed to be balanced. I think they're definitely on the right track. Seductive emoji? I'm not sure which emoji that's supposed to be, but all right. Yeah, no, I think overall this patch was very, very good. I don't think it's going to fix all the problems that people had with the game, but I think it opened up a lot more things, made a lot more things useful. Like you said, I would agree that as far as cameo wise, I think that Striker and Darius are probably like the winners of this patch. I've seen probably more Darius now than I ever have before. And I kept wondering how they were just going to keep buffing this cameo, but they keep doing it just in little ways. And I think that giving him that safe wake up and removing the flawless block on that twister kicks, that was not something I expected them to do, but they did it.
I agree. Like, I think that was kind of what they did with Tremor, where they were like, okay, we're just going to do this wave of things and we're going to really remove some of the, an extra little layer of drawback. And so for Darius, it probably was that they really wanted to give him that wake up, and still negative, but with some space. So more incentive to do something like that. More incentive to use him, and he's got the health and stuff now, and anybody can use him for mix-ups.
Yeah, it's true. Like my time with him and Quan, like I used to use him a little bit. Like when I was doing my Quan Chi cameo experiment, I used him a bit, and like you got that full screen overhead low, but you had to use a bar meter to use the overhead projectile. Now with the new Quan buff, it's like a fun to blockable meterless every time, and if it hits, it adds about 100 damage. So if you're doing like his main B&B, which is, especially with Darius, you can use him in the B&B and set him up afterwards, is like 360. Then adding an extra 100 damage to that is pretty good at full screen. So he's got a lot of utility and a lot of things they can do, and I'm happy to see him around more. I like the 3D era characters, and the extra 100 health is always good, especially for young Quan, who lacks it to begin with. So.
Yeah, good old Team Baldy.
Team Baldy, they got this matching haircuts.
Yeah, do you think they bond over what razors they use to get it that smooth?
The less blades, the better. Is that the consensus?
I don't know.
I'd have to ask Quan. The idea of Quan shaving his head is very funny to me. He's just like always been bald, but the fact that like he would have to maintain that is actually a funny thought. And just wake up in the morning.
I think he doesn't grow any hair at all. I think he's hairless.
You think he's hairless?
Well, we've seen his armpits.
That's true. That's true. Even like, do you think like even before, like when in this new timeline, when he like worked in the mines, when he was just like a regular dude, he was just born like hairless, or?
No, he was looking like Luke Skywalker in like the. In A New Hope or something, big old shaggy before he lost all of his skin color, and it was maybe part of the process when he lost all his skin pigmentation.
Stole his skin and his hair,
Yeah, but
I don't know.
On the back of that comment, the other end of that comment with Havoc, we saw a bunch of Havoc played at Versus Fighting this weekend, and he's still good. Right, he's definitely nerfed, but he's still a good character.
Yeah, I mean, he's got like one of the better strings in the game, in my opinion. In that, was it back 2-2? That forward advancing mid. I was messing around with that a little bit this morning, and like, even though they kind of like nerfed the options on the end of it, like just that string in particular has so many good uses that. And then we saw, to transition into Versus Fighting, I missed the majority of the pools. I kind of was trying to catch a little bit of it at the end there. I didn't see much of that, but I did watch all of the top 8. And as always, we have this Combat Cup image I'll put on screen of, kind of all the characters. Something that's interesting to me is that, of course, Tremor is still the most used cameo on stream anyways. Not really not really too shocked about that, to be honest. Kind of slap on the wrist kind of idea, but you definitely didn't see him being used as a meat shield as much as you normally do, and you definitely felt it when he did get hit and he was gone for what felt like a really long time.
Yep. And Movado is still, so we saw Snake Doe using Havoc Movado. Both of those characters got nerfed, and I don't think there was enough time to pick up a new team. And I think it's still good. You just can't be as, there's just more risk behind what you're doing, and you can't do it as often, right? So Havoc goes from that back 2-2 into the low, and I'm pretty sure you can extend with Movado there, but now he gets punished for that on block.
Right.
So that has more risk, and Movado might not be available depending on the last time that he was used and stuff, but the team still looks killer, still looks really good.
Yeah, team still does what it needs to do. And I think this is actually the first time in recent history that I can think of that there is a cameo that's tied with Movado as far as the amount of times that he was used, and that's Jax there, which we saw a lot of the Takeda Jax. That team is pretty disgusting, not gonna lie. So changes are definitely being noticed here, as I'm seeing. There's still pretty big zero used character tier, not quite as big zero used in the cameo department, which is kind of nice. Your Girl Frost is still in the zero uses, and then Cyrax cameo, Sonya is actually one I've seen a lot more with Sub-Zero lately. That team has some decent synergy, a lot of like screw neutral kind of stuff, like charged rings into slide into rings or just plus kind of idea.
I saw some T1000 Sonya a little bit after the patch, some people streaming that stuff, and that was cool, like setting up a charged projectile, and then you do like, the jaws, you go underground and start teleporting in, or turn into a puddle and start crawling across the ground, and
That's
you got
kind of
the
crazy.
Sonya charged projectile kind of behind you. It looked kind of cool.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I'm trying to envision it. It sounds like it could be useful. If we don't see T1000 again, to be honest, I won't be super sad. Like, nope. I just didn't really care for him as a character. Didn't really like that didn't like the way that he played. He wasn't fun to play against. So I don't think I'll be sad if I don't see that character again. But it is what it is. And what else we did? A little bit less Homelander as well at this event. I had a lot of fun watching Sector. That was cool. I was curious how that nerf would affect the game plan. It didn't really look like it changed it. What a awesome run by Gotham there, going all the way to the grand finals. That was like hometown boy too. Like, that was super cool to see. Always love to root for the home team,
Yep, I agree. Very, very cool Sector. Very good gameplay. And yeah, the nerfs don't seem to... That was like slap on the wrist sort of stuff too. I don't think that was going to be anything game-changing for her.
No.
So just trying to even out some of the particularly, bad things.
And I gotta say, that whole top 8, that was unlike any top 8 that I can ever remember. I can't say that I've ever seen, because like I've seen a lot of top 8s, but like in recent memory, just like the amount of stuff that happened, like first off, let's talk about Snake Doe. And Snake Doe had needed to win that match over VGY, I believe. And VGY already qualified for Final Combat, nothing to lose. Literally was just there to play spoiler for Snake Doe. And then Snake Doe takes it in a really close set, and like I was worried about it. I was not gonna lie. I was watching. Poor dude was having like a panic attack, and like just realizing that he just qualified for Final Combat. So that was quite the strong moment there. So
yeah, there was a lot riding on that game for other people that were hoping to qualify, right? And a lot was riding on Snake Doe not doing well, but he did do quite well.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
Got the win that he needed, and kind of gate kept a couple people in the process. Got all the way to losers finals, I believe. So like not even like where like the bare minimum was, but like pretty much almost as far as you could go, kind of a thing, just to really drive that home. just like rode
Using
that
nerfed
momentum.
Havoc and nerfed Movado.
And the little chameleon at the end there, that was a nice switch.
Oh yeah.
I like that switch. It's kind of reminder. I believe there was a time when chameleon was all the rage, where Havoc and chameleon was kind of a team people used, but
she was a team with everybody.
Well, it's true. It's true. Not just Havoc, but so I'd love to see that. Gur just needed to win one more set. Unfortunately, didn't happen for Gur, and especially with the double down of Snake Doe doing so well. Same with Dialogue. Mind you, Dialogue was a little bit farther out. I think Dialogue had to kind of win the whole event to qualify, but we've talked about this in the Discord a couple times, like the Gur World Tour. Gur went to I don't think he missed a single pro event. He was at literally every single one, no matter where it was. Gur went, so it's kind of heartbreaking to see him be so close,
but so far.
So far,
he has to go to LCQ with everybody else to hope to qualify for that last spot.
Yeah. So that being said, let's pull up our standings here. They'll be on screen if you're watching this. So everybody in the green here has qualified. So we have from the point side of things, Video Games Yo, who qualified super early. And I actually I totally forgot that Video Games Yo had that many points. Because I remember when we were talking about it.
Yeah. This is courtesy of Mr. Aquaman as well, right? I think he put this whole thing together.
Yes. Yeah. So we're taking this from Mr. Aquaman on Twitter. So shout outs to him for this, for sharing this image. So yeah, because I was curious. I was like, well, I haven't really seen VGY at many events, but then it's like, why would he go? Like he's already pretty much qualified. He's number one qualified in points. So I kind of forgot about that. Then Faisal, Rewind, Lavender Rain, then Snake Doe, Ytex, MK Javier, and Scorpion Prox. So they all qualified via the points, and then you have the ones that qualified through different events. Tweety, Online Kale, Anna's Bananas, Tani Money, FGC Boy, Tekken Master, Broseph, Nicholas, Zeus, Shulita. Is that how I pronounce that? Shulita? I'm not really sure. Not familiar with that player. And then Sonic Fox for winning Evo. So there are a couple names in these qualifiers I'm not really familiar with. FGC Boy, not familiar with him at all. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I've seen Anna's Bananas play in the Rips Arena a couple times. Interesting to see.
Yep.
In this
also Havoc player, I believe.
Okay. Good to know. And then we just the names that are just outside of qualifying, like Gur, Dialogue, Katana Khan, Rothor, Hourglass of Rain. That's crazy that those are names that haven't qualified for the finals. So I would say
they just didn't travel, right? I'm pretty sure all those points, all of Rothor's points, was that from Vianality?
It could have been because he did really good there, if I remember correctly. On top 4, maybe?
And then Hourglass was in top 8 at Evo. Is that where all 230 came from?
Yeah. Hourglass was at Combo Breaker too, I think. Weren't they? I don't really remember. That was a long time ago. Oh, not that long ago, but long enough for me to kind of...
I know, it's all fuzzy. We obviously did not prepare.
But it's all good. So even though... They got the 19 people that qualified here through points and then events, and then we'll have one person who's qualifying through the LCQ, which happens, I believe, the day before Final Combat starts. So they'll do that event, and then that's a lot of pressure though, going through all these people, especially like names like Gur and Dialogue, who have just been like on the grind. They want it, and it's there's only going to be one. Only one person wins. Second place in LCQ means absolutely nothing to nobody.
And how many people are just going to LCQ in general? People that didn't travel at all that are just banking it on LCQ.
Totally.
There's going to be a lot happening there. Should be pretty exciting stuff.
There's going to be that one dude that just could never travel and never able to hit any events, but like is just like a killer that just happens to live in that city they're doing it. It's just going to show up and just steamroll everyone. Yeah. A lot of people there. So you never know. I'll be watching
There
it.
are a lot of people. There are a lot of people in Mexico City, indeed.
I'll be watching it. I'm pretty stoked. I don't really have like I mean that the safe favorite to win would be Sonic Fox, but you know I really enjoy watching Kanimani play. Hoping that he does well. MK Javier as well, super nice guy. Got to know him a little bit at Evo, but like I just want to watch some good Mortal Kombat. You know, this I feel like this Final Kombat is like the send off for this game. You know, as far as like for me personally, you know, this is the last big event. You have all these players that, and historically, like during like the end of the game's life, a lot of these players usually kind of have moved on to other things, you know, at the 2-year mark, you know, off to something else. So it's cool to see they're all still here, all competing, and have a good old send off, you know, and maybe some sort of an announcement or something. Who knows? We said that about the last one and we didn't really get much. So who knows? But it's being broadcast it's somewhere
On HBO?
big. HBO, right, yeah. So that's kind of crazy. They'll get
That is kind of crazy.
More eyes on it for Mortal Kombat. You know?
I think it'll be like you were saying, you know, Sonic has a really good chance of winning. Number 1 in points and is obviously dominant. And I feel like when I watch any sort of fighting game like top 8 and stuff, once it starts to get really predictable, it all gets like really like whittled down, and exactly who you expected was in grand finals or top 3 and stuff like that. And it's still cool to watch, but I think it's way more hype. All the build up to it, and like the early parts and all the early losers rounds and stuff in top 8 is the most exciting stuff. It's like you watch any reality TV, Dink, like where people get eliminated.
Oh yeah, I not exactly reality TV, but like I do like that like premise of like people slowly being like eliminated out.
Yeah. I don't really like reality TV, but I get caught up in it sometimes. And like when I watch like MasterChef or something, it's always like way more interesting up until like the last 2 or 3 episodes. As soon as it's down to like only 2 or 3 people, like my investment in the show and like what's happening, because there's way less happening, and now the focus is kind of like, you know, there's less considerations because the pool's all narrowed down. So, but all that build up is all the interesting stuff. So I'll just be thinking about it that way.
It's a good way to enter it. Good way to go into it. Good mindset, you know. Yeah, I'm curious to see how like players like Ytex, for example, you know, see if the sector changes make any difference to their gameplay. You know, people we haven't really seen since then. So Broseph is another one that I'll be cheering for. I don't think qualified with Quan though. I could be wrong on that. But I just like Broseph as a person. He seems super chill. So
Quan's been buffed in the meantime too, so we might see some Quan in Final Kombat.
Yeah, I don't know if, because the thing with like versus fighting versus Final Kombat is there's really like less than a week to kind of prepare. So unless your character got like super duper gutted, which I don't think anyone really did, there wasn't really that much time to switch up. Whereas now with Final Kombat, we're looking at, you know, the better part of a month now to prepare something. So I've already seen Sonic Fox playing around with more sector stuff. Lee May was something that they posted. So it'll be interesting to see where the chips fall when it comes to the Final Kombat. And I think that'll be a good indication of where the meta's at competitively for the rest of the game's life, depending on what patches come afterwards, kind of a thing. That being said, I mean, we're kind of expecting some sort of a patch after Final Kombat. What I think will probably be the final patch, just kind of a cleanup of things that, you know, might be a little underwhelming or overwhelming. I imagine, which brings me to another point I wanted to bring up. Ed Boon tweeted out specifically asking what 4 characters thinks need buffs and nerfs. I think was what he kind of asked.
Yeah,
for
with
both.
no guarantees, but you know, assuming there is another patch, which 4 characters you think need it the most, which is what he was doing before, right? Asking for 4 characters.
Yep. Yeah, and they made a lot of changes, and you know, I do think that if I don't know if I can think of 4, to be honest. Like, I think Tanya definitely needs something, but I don't really know what, because I don't really play her. But you just don't see Tanya around, and it feels like when you do, she's limited to like 1 or 2 cameos. You know, she's not the most interesting. She doesn't play Mortal Kombat 1 very well in that aspect, if it's all relegated around cameos and that kind of thing. So I think she could use something to make her a little bit more interesting, or maybe it's tough because I don't see them putting in any new moves, as we were kind of talking about last time. It's just going to be frame adjustments, right? So
it just adjustments to existing stuff, but nothing added.
It'll be interesting to see how they do that. I would be shocked if she didn't get anything in the next update. And yeah, I don't know. I'm really happy with this patch, to be honest. They changed a lot of things. I think Quan has I think he moved up a little bit in the tier list kind of region. I don't think he's top tier. I don't think he's really even in the high mid, but like I feel like he's got more tools now to play the game better. Like as far as main roster, I mean Tanya and Reptile are the two that kind of come to my mind the most as far as like.
You think they'll adjust Reptile again?
Yeah, I don't know. I think if they just fix, like, I'm just going by what Reptile players have said, is that I think that if they just adjusted that back 3-1 string, because they've been complaining about that since day one, about how whiffs on hit kind of a thing. I think that would probably
at like max range, right?
Yeah, and that's certain range. I mean, again, I'm not really sure if hitbox changes or something they can do, but
I think that might be working as intended. That might be just them saying it just doesn't work at max range, because they've done that before. You remember MK11, and everyone was always complaining because everyone was holding up on wake up and holding up out of hit. And if you were playing Katana and you did her back 2 string, so say like you try to meaty somebody with back 2, even if the back 2 hit, they could still jump out of the next hits.
Right.
And stuff like that. Well, maybe not if it hit, right? But on block, you definitely. What was it? I think if they were just holding up, so they're barely off the ground, the back 2 would hit and the rest would whiff and stuff, and then you'd get punished in classic MK fashion. And people were always complaining about it, and they never directly addressed it. But I specifically remember 16-bit saying, I'm not telling you what to do, and I'm just saying if it was me and that was happening to me, I would probably stop using back 2. I would probably just stop trying to meaty with back 2, right? You use something else, which I just took that as like indirectly saying like that's just not what it's used for, right? And just because it seems like it should work, and you think it should work, that's not. I mean, they don't agree, so it might be one of those things. I don't know. I'm not a Reptile player.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good string. It's got good range and, really good whiff punishing. So maybe it's like, just space it properly, bro. Like, I don't know. It's
I'm not looking for the Reptile salt in the comments and stuff.
No,
but
no, I'm on Team Reptile. I want your character to be viable. As long as you're on Team Quan, I'm on Team Reptile. Not a lot of people are on Team Quan. How are
you, speaking of, how are you liking Quan now that you've been chewing on the patch for a week?
Yeah, I'm liking him a lot. Just those 2 changes just open up so much more, because he kind of didn't really have a way to use meter to extend his combos. So now he kind of has that now with the standing 4 comboing into the Psycho Skull, enhanced Psycho Skull. So which is enhancing my Shujinkydink combos even more, which usually it adds like 50 or so damage. But I mean, if I'm sitting on 3 bars, I might as well use it, because I'm not building any more meter anyways. That's kind of how I like to look at it. And then, building your 2nd to the 3rd bar doesn't usually take too much, and I'm zoning anyways. So, but yeah, I've also been playing with a lot of Darius. Darius is super fun. You were mentioning earlier about the unblockables, and then actually having a wake up attack. Playing around with Frost. You and I went into practice mode that one day and figured a bunch of stuff out. A lot of that I'm having problems after actually putting into gameplay, but
yeah,
it's.
I feel like that's the Frost life, and that's a
practice
part
mode
of it is
cameo.
fleshing all of that out. It's like you need humans to test setups and stuff against. There's only so much you can think of, and so many situational things that may change either the hit advantage a little bit or the spacing's a little bit different. And so you need to see how people beat it and then start,
Yeah.
working around that.
Yeah, I think if I had to make any more changes to Frost, I think I would just have it that she gives you health. Doesn't have to be 100, maybe 50, but like I feel like she's in the place where they want her to be at. Like I think she has some good things, like that Frost Orb is super duper good, and Frosty's Revenge is super duper good, and the Ice Crash, and like now she has like a viable wake up. So she has a good utility, but there's just not incentive to use her over the other cameos. So, or maybe you could speed up Frost Orb by like something like 7 or 8 frames. You think that would be too much?
I don't think they'll do it because they haven't touched it.
Yeah, the whole game's life has been.
I'm
the
pretty
same
sure it's
speed
always
rate.
been 68. They've changed some other things about like it still takes 68 full frames for the orb to come out, but they've changed some things about the way she comes out to cast it, and she can cancel it and stuff like that kind of make it a little bit safer, like in neutral and stuff. But I'm pretty sure it's always been those 68 frames. I don't think they're going to change that.
Right. That would make sense. They're pretty. It's pretty clear when NRS wants something to be a certain way, and that's something that hasn't changed. So
yeah, that means that most characters need to spend a resource like a bar of meter or something to get that kind of hit advantage to get it out. So it's kind of, you think about it, you're spending the bar for the setup,
right.
instead of just getting it every time, unless you have sector privilege.
Sector privilege, huh?
Because she can just cancel it from her standing. Her standing 3 has enough special cancel frames and hit advantage that she gets meterless orb setups, just canceling it from standing 3, which is actually pretty scary in the corner.
Yeah,
especially.
I could see that. I should try that team out. I haven't touched that team in a minute. I remember when I was going through my sector phase, I played it or tried it out. I don't think I played too many matches, but yeah, that standing 3 Frost Orb was pretty strong.
That might be my favorite Frost team. Frost just isn't, or Sector's just not my favorite character, but that's probably my favorite Frost team. I think Sector and Noob, and then probably like Natara or somebody.
I'll pick that team up and I'll make it work in your honor, just for your entertainment, hater.
It's really good. I don't think you'll have a hard time making it work at all. I think it's very good. A lot of synergy. The thing is, it's just like Motaro and Sector and some other cameos just kind of like give her more bang for the buck. But like we said before, right? It's just flavor, right? If that's the kind of what you want some orb setups and some easier ways to hit confirm and things, then I think super fun.
So I'm just trying to go through, like, because I don't know who else should get buffed. Like, I'm looking through this list of zero characters played, and I mean, there's characters that seem like they're pretty good. Sindel, Raiden, Ghostface, Peacemaker, Noob.
It's just what was streamed, and there wasn't a lot streamed, right? Like it was for a few hours for pools, and then top 8, which top 8 got split in between 2 different streams, so I didn't even see those losers matches. I haven't even watched them yet and stuff. So
yeah, that was crazy. I've never seen that before, especially at like a pro competition event where they're running out of time, so they have to split top 8 up. That's
obviously there's going to be way more stream appearances for people that played through pools and then top 8 and all that sort of stuff too, right? So we're just going to see it over and over, and that's why Havoc and Avato are so high.
Yeah, because Snake Doe got streamed so many times. So
right.
It would be interesting if I mean, obviously that's a lot of extra work, but it'd be interesting to see, like, by player, like, one player we saw on stream with Havoc, versus one player with Takeda and one player with Sector, I think that'd be interesting.
I think it'd be way more interesting to get some statistics for like online things. There's people that do that for Street Fighter, and it's always cool to see how many characters are played and in what ranked and things like that. Street Fighter releases the statistics, I think, for that every once in a while, right? So if you're playing like E Honda, and in this matchup, this is the average win rate, for these matchups and platinum rank versus diamond ranked and master and stuff. it's really easy to see like character fall off and things, and it's always I wish we had something like that to see the broader representation.
What people are playing in Combat League kind of idea, because you get a good spread in Combat
overall.
League. I've been playing a lot of Omnimans lately. That seems to be a popular team, and they don't seem to be using that new the new buff on the 4/3 or whatever it is that much. So
They're used
to
not using it because they keep getting punished or something.
Yeah. So they're just not really working into the game plan, but I think he seems like he's like one that like kind of profited off of the top tiers being brought down a bit, you know, just kind of brought him up in general, made him more viable to use.
Yeah, and he's a cool brawler character and stuff, and not everyone's on the wagon and stuff like they have been with other DLC, like what Peacemaker was pre-nerf and stuff. And it seems like T1000 might be chilling with Peacemaker. Didn't get hit as hard as Peacemaker did. Do you remember the list of changes on that character? I feel like they touched like literally every single thing. Like he was just so overtuned. That had to have been like, you know, we joke about it being part of John Cena's contract, right? He's just got to be broke for like a month or something.
Maybe
like
the most broke character.
Part of his talent writer or whatever.
John Cena. That's still crazy to me that they actually got John Cena to voice the character. I think that's super cool. MK is not usually the celebrity hotspot game, so kind of neat. Off of that though, another question that Ed Boon asked was about the DLC fighters and splitting into the combat packs and whether whether you had the 6 fighters and then the 3 fighters and the 2 packs of 3, or whether you had prefer the 6 and 6, and like, do you have a preference on that one, Hater? Whether it's like the 3 and 3 or 6, 3 and 3 is how he worded it here with MK11, or like the 6 and 6.
Yeah, they did that in MKX too, right? 6 then 3 then 3. So there was 3 combat packs instead of 2, like in MK1, but the same amount of characters. I don't think I really care either way. I kind of like the idea of like 3 packs, especially because the packs aren't. Well, that's not because Combat Pack 3 was just the 3 characters, right? There was no content. The Combat Pack 2 came with Aftermath and those 3 characters. Who was it? Shiva, Fujin. Was Fujin in 2 or 3? Shit, I don't even remember. It was Rain, Melina, and somebody else. Oh, yeah, Rain, Melina, and Rambo in Combat Pack 3.
And
Robocop,
then it was
Cop, Shiva, and Fujin in Combat Pack 2. Is that right?
Man, it's been so long I can't even remember. I wanted to say it was Shang, but no, it was just because the story was kind of centered around Shang. So he was
wasn't Shang
he was Combat Pack
pre-order
1.
bonus, or that was Shao Kahn.
Yeah, that was Shao Kahn was pre-order bonus. And then Shang was in Combat Pack 1, I think.
Yeah, okay. I think he was the first DLC character. Damn, yeah, I'm really fuzzy on that.
Yeah, MK11.
I remember Nightwolf getting announced. They showed the Nightwolf gameplay when I was on my way to EVO in 2019. So that was August, and that's when we got the and he was also a Combat Pack 1, right? Nightwolf.
Yeah,
wasn't he the first character?
I don't remember. I don't know. For some reason, I was like, oh yeah, it was Nightwolf, Fujin, and Shiva were in that pack, but I don't think that's the case. Either way.
No, Nightwolf was in the first Combat Pack.
So you like the idea of a couple different combat packs and getting like the characters at once rather than like sprinkling like the characters, like a character a month kind of a thing? Kind of idea?
Yeah, I'd like them to spread it out. I don't like a character a month. But we've talked about that before, right? Like especially the way they do characters in this game, right? Because something's always broken. Something fucked up always happens. And by the time they can kind of get it evened out, if they get it evened out before the next DLC, then the next DLC does it all over again. It's like this endless cycle of trying to catch up to the game just for it to change again, right? And that's just my old man brain and the amount of time that I choose to invest in it and stuff like that. So like going from Peacemaker and then Chameleon and then Homelander and then Ferret, like that series of events,
I was so fucked.
My God. And just on the back of the game, just again, just trying to catch up with itself and the desyncs and all of that other stuff. And I don't know. So I don't, because you remember Combat Pack 3, at least they released all three characters at the same time, just like they did in Combat Pack 2 for MK1.
Right.
Would you prefer that? I feel like that's like sensory overload, trying to learn three new matchups at the same time, but maybe it's not that big of a deal.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent to it, to be honest. Like I said, like you were saying with the dropping a character a month and it's broken and they're trying to catch up, like dropping 3 characters at the same time. And if they're all busted or they're all kind of fucked, then like that's even more of a cluster in my opinion. So I would rather kind of have the month, but I also like the idea of getting 3 characters at the same time. So it's just kind of exciting, and as more people get like involved in the game, because there's a higher chance that like there's something there for them, you know, like Homelander drops and majority of Mortal Kombat fans are just like, I don't care, you know, but like if you dropped Homelander with like 2 other MK characters that, you know, like say like, I don't know, like Kai and Meat or some old school MK character that people have been waiting for their return, you know, it might bring more people in to kind of look at the game again. But it doesn't really matter to me either way. The one thing that I don't really want to see that much of more is guest characters, and like I totally get like the appeal of them. We've talked about them before, but I think that this game just took that to a weird level. You know, like just I don't know. Like Ghostface was perfect. I think if you know he would have been one of like maybe 3, you know, guest characters, that would have been cool. But I mean, Conan the Barbarian, that. Nobody really cares about that. T1000. So it just felt like a different generation just trying to make like their own kind of cool fighting game, which, hey, all the way to you. But I just feel like it gunks up the roster a bit, you know? But I totally get
thematically, I'm not really into it. I feel like of all the guest characters we've had since, I won't count MK9, so just MKX. I think MKX is fine.
Yeah, it fits.
And then MK11, there was Spawn.
Yeah.
And then MK1, I feel like Ghostface definitely fits MK Universe the way that Spawn does, and the way that all the MKX ones did. And I think that Omni-Man's like borderline, you know, sort of thing, violent comic book hero sort of thing. Homelander unnecessary just because they just had to like make so much shit up because he doesn't really fight in the show, right? Like very simple sorts of things, but he barely has to like lift a finger. So it's not like they have a lot of reference and stuff like that. So if I had to just choose 2, like one from the last 2 games, it would definitely be Spawn and Ghostface. Like no contest. No.
Oh, easy.
You know, second the runners up from either of those games like aren't even close.
Yeah, no, I think of like who else was in MK11? Yeah, Terminator, RoboCop, Rambo. Is that it?
Joker was a guest character, so I would put
Joker's
probably
cool.
Joker next, the way that Omni-Man would be next, or whatever in MK1 maybe.
Right. Yeah, that would make sense to me. I mean, like I feel like the T1000 was weird to me because it's like I feel like you would have wanted to have that in the game with the Terminator, right? So you could like hash out that fight, like the way that you could do. You know, like Terminator and RoboCop.
You get a little cannon fight.
Yeah, or like in Alien versus Predator and MKX kind of a thing. You know, it just seemed like a weird choice to me. Maybe there was ran out of time or budget or whatever, but they did it anyways.
I really think the only one that's missing, and he belongs in MKX, is like Michael Myers, and that had to have been like a licensing thing. I'm sure they tried to get him, but that'd be one of those things. It's like, well, how do you make him different from Jason? And then NRS is like, well, hold my beer, because they always do that, right? Why have Superman and Supergirl in the same game? Isn't that redundant? Why have Sub-Zero and Frost in the same game? Isn't that redundant? And it's like they know how to make those things distinct.
Yeah, they do a good job.
So I really think he's the only one that's missing.
There's got to be a licensing thing going on that, because people have been asking for him for years. Since the MKX horror pack, and there's got to be something going around.
Choice. Yeah.
Totally. It makes sense. They do something weird with him, like give him fireballs or something.
Oh my God.
It'd be interesting to see how they can make that character unique.
Hadouken. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they just take some like blatant Street Fighter thing, like instead of Hadouken, it's like Madoukan or something like that. As he throws like a blue fireball at you. Could get the licensing issues for that. Sorry, guys. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with whatever the next game they come out with, they announce with. I would expect something, probably Game Awards is kind of where I'm thinking.
Yeah, this winter.
Yeah, this winter would make sense, and I just hope to God they get enough time to make a decent game this time around. I don't want to go through what we went through with MK1. I would.
When they announced MK11, it was just months before, so it was the Game Awards, right? And that was like in the December before the April that it was released. So if they go by that sort of thing, if they announce it this December, that means that it's probably coming out next year.
Yeah,
is that enough time? Is that like what we expect, or would we expect it the year after?
Well, I mean, I'm not too sure, to be honest, because like we know that if you remember, MK1 wasn't announced at the Game Awards, but that game, as we know, had all sorts of red tape and shit behind it that, that could have been a reason kind of idea. So I think if it...
Yeah, they said, oh, by the way, we're releasing a game and there's a stress test in 1 week. No, we're not rushing or anything. This was part of the strategizing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if they do, I mean, this is just me hypothesizing in my little brain here, but I think it's a good sign if they announce something at the Game Awards, because in my opinion, that's where you want to announce it, because gamers from all sorts of different games are watching. That's your target demographic. That is the absolute best time to announce a new game. So I think if we don't see something at the Game Awards, then I'm going to be a little concerned. Or it's going to be a while before we get the next game, because maybe they're waiting until the following year, which wouldn't hurt my feelings, but that was just, I hope they get the proper time to make a good game. But that's also a long time without an updated game from what we're used to anyway, right? Like, the 2-year cycle that they've done, and they've finally kind of broken it here now. So we'll see. I'm not really sure what to expect. I'm hopeful either way.
I think going into Chaos Reigns, they were fully expecting to do another combat pack, and then based on those sales or whatever, and they're like, well, we're moving on to the next project. All the WB fuckery that's been happening and stuff, but they were clearly expecting to be doing more leading up to it, and like the interview circuit and all that stuff, like trying to promote it. And then that tune completely changed after it came out. They move on to the next project. So that was almost a year ago that Chaos Reigns came out. We're a little bit shy of a year. So let's say September of last year or October of last year is when they're officially working on the next project. They've shifted gears, tying the bow on MK1 and stuff. Do you think whatever they were already working on leading to that point, and then shifting the gears and working on that for like the last year, do you think they are prepared to release a game early next year, like in April of next year, if they announce it this December at the Game Awards?
I think that would be probably a safe bet. I mean, the only like kind of thing that's keeping me from like kind of doubting that a little bit is that this game, they switched to a new engine from what I understand. And it seems like there were some hiccups with that engine, and what problems were created by that, I don't know. Hopefully they've figured that out by now. But I mean, if you are correct in like that Chaos Reign, so yeah, it would have been a year, and then a year and a half by the time that they would usually put a game out in, like, say March or April or something like that. So I would say that would be probably enough time. And they've probably moved the majority of their team over to this new project, while keeping just like a couple people behind on MK1 for these different last few patches or whatever that they did. Because at this point, the team's probably familiar enough with MK1 that they don't need too many resources to really throw at any future patches kind of idea. They can probably have a small skeleton crew take care of that, and move everybody else towards the new project, whether it's Injustice 3 or MK2 or whatever it is they choose to do. So I think it could be enough time, and given the year before that as well, that they learned about all the stuff and all the issues that MK1 had leading up to its release. And with all that shit, they still had a pretty fun game to play, So I would be hopeful that if they announced it in December, it would be ready by March or April. And yeah, if they announce at the Game Awards, I say that's a super healthy sign. And I will be genuinely excited at that time. Almost as excited to see Expedition 33 win Game of the Year. Almost. Maybe not quite, but we'll see. Lots of stuff to come. Exciting times. Final Kombat's coming up. And yeah, I guess this is going to be it for another week. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like because it really helps me out. And subscribe if you haven't. Make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff. And we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.